we were talking about our phones, and I just got a new phone as well. Do you have to change your number much, though?
No. I've had the same number for a little while. I mean, it's been, I don't know, pretty standard. 3 years or so, 4 years, maybe longer.
I had one number for like 16 years.
Yeah.
And, man, I was so attached to that number. Like it was a relative. Wouldn't change it. Number got written on a wall a couple times. I would just get random texts, and finally it got to the point where I had to move off. But now this new phone, it's got like a weird button on the bottom right, which opens up your camera automatically. So at times I'm just like recording. Or is it like the government?
Could be. I think it's the government, and I think it's a lot of stuff.
If I use the bathroom, I take my phone, either leave it out. I would like to have my phone to read or TikTok, or I'll cover the holes on it so they don't watch me using the bathroom.
Oh yeah, so you're in.
I'm in enough to where I don't want my wiener on the internet.
Yeah.
Like that's the Fair level. Like they're not really going to find anything if they do go deep, and I feel like if they want to go deep, they will, and there's nothing I can really do about it.
Yeah.
Like if they want to plant stuff on someone's computer, they can do that so easily.
That's fair enough, man. I mean, you don't want your wiener on the internet. That's totally fair.
I'd prefer it not be.
Okay, here.
I'm humiliated enough. Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah, you look great. Are you a big conspiracy guy or no?
I'm not above my manager just looked at me like, I'm not above a good conspiracy theory. Like I've watched this stuff pan out over, grew up in the 90s. So we grow up, we're doing this thing. Like I feel like we watched Facebook come into fruition. We watched the age of social media. And I think if you're not a conspiracy theorist in some regard, you're just not paying attention.
And I think some of them have been proven true to where some of them do feel a little wacky.
Yeah.
But even with like the JFK dump,
yeah,
that wasn't a lone gunman. We kind of know that. And forever, those people were like weirdos. If you questioned anything that the government said about it being more than just one person, but now it looks like for sure there was some involvement by some group, probably the CIA.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah. For me, I like information. I like to look into something before I like to have all the information before I make a comment. It's really hard to do that now and I think our parents, my dad's 70, my mom's 65 or so, they are, no offense to them. I love them and they're super intelligent. But they are the ones that are vulnerable to like, did you see what Trump said about this or this? I'm like, no, Dad, that's not, that's AI. He said he hates pickleball. What? Are you sure he said that? Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
So they're the vulnerable ones on like believing. So and we're just, I think, at the tip of the iceberg with that.
Well, I think too, the older generation didn't get to grow with it. Mm-hmm. So yeah, if you're 60, 70, 80 years old, what used to be written was the word, because the newspaper wouldn't print something if it wasn't
the word
true. Mm-hmm. And the word. Now, if you read something on the internet or it's a meme, it's like it is just believed because it's made into an actual image.
Yep.
And just like the paper, I didn't even plan to get started on that. I just thought it was interesting.
No, glad we did.
Yeah, me too. I won't poop with my phone without the cameras being covered. I wanted that to be out there in case anybody's listening that wants to hack me or look at my wiener or poop hole. It's covered.
It's understandable.
What's the rule? We were talking about this morning. Do you have a tour bus rule about using the bathroom in the bus?
Yeah, I think that's more of for the guy that's emptying the tank. For me, if I've got if there's an emergency, it's always like, it's there if there's an extreme emergency. But the rule is no pooping on the bus for sure.
Because it then lives with you.
Yeah, you
travel with it.
Yeah, unless you're Dave Matthews, you're taking it with you.
And then you're dumping it out on the bridge, and somebody's getting hit with it.
Yeah,
how you doing, man?
I'm great, dude.
I haven't seen you in a little bit.
I know, it's been a while.
Yeah, I don't even know. COVID kind of messed with my ears, so I don't know how long it's been. You live in town?
Yeah, I live just north of town.
You don't have to say where. Don't say where.
Yeah.
Just wondered if you live somewhat close.
Yeah, I got a farm that keeps me kind of sane.
Oh, you got a farm, huh?
Like a small 20-acre deal, and it's just, that's what kind of keeps me sane, kept me sane through COVID. We played a lot of shows in my barn, and, got a tractor. I got a little boy now. I got a 2-year-old golden retriever and a Bronco, so it's my spot.
I haven't spent any time with you since your stroke. What year was that?
It was August the 16th of 2019.
So my story isn't as severe as yours, but I had blood clotting in my brain 3 different times where I didn't know what it was, and I would like lose the ability to read. I couldn't identify objects. I just knew that weird banana shape, that weird yellow thing was a banana, but I couldn't find words.
Right.
And I had gone back and forth a few times to doctors, and it ended up being like an ischemia is what they called it.
Okay.
But I would wake up and just think I had brain fog so bad. And there are parts of my life that I have no memory of at all. Like there's like 2-month gaps prior to what ended up being what they would call as a small stroke. You had a real one. I had 3 really small ones, and now I'm on blood thinners, so the blood in my brain doesn't clot again.
Right.
But I never really knew that that's what it was while it was happening until my wife was, at the time she was my girlfriend and my fiance. She was like, I don't think that's normal what you're doing. Like I couldn't read a piece of paper. And so I went in and they did a brain scan, and they were looking at the different like gray matter, white matter. I learned so much about the brain in that period. And the doctor's like, you've had blood clots in your brain, and that's why you have these lapses in memory. And that's why there would be like 3 or 4 weeks where my balance was bad, couldn't read, and I was having to do a show and like lean on folks. And that was a very mild version of it. What is your version of like what happened? When did you know it was happening? That whole story.
Well, I want to comment on what, like, it's the toughness, the Arkansas, kind of Alabama, just being a dude, the toughness, we're trying to tough it out.
I never stopped working because I was afraid if I did, I wouldn't be able to work. Like they would go, oh, something's wrong with his brain. I didn't even acknowledge it. I never talked about it because I didn't want someone to go like, he's broken. And I was like, I can get through it. I never took a day off work. I should have, looking back. But you're right. It was very stubborn of me.
We're going to get so far into that then, because that is the main struggle for me mentally that happened, because you know how fast this city runs, and I like to say we got to second base. We had some really good successes, had a lot of friends, people loved.
You mean your career before then, yeah.
Right. Everything was rolling, everything was good. Had been dropped, had been picked back up, had the Zach Brown tour, had stuff rolling, but it was a struggle, but it was a good struggle. And we were like in that spot. So I didn't feel like that I could quit. I felt like I was building. And so just tough it out, man. Go past the numbness, the little tingly stuff on the tips of your fingers. Go past the heaviness in your left leg. Go past the brain fog and the spots in your vision.
And you're feeling these things.
Yeah.
So you had you had symptoms leading up to them.
Not really. Not to the point of where I was like, that is a symptom. It was just tough it out. Like it wasn't severe enough to where that I had like headaches or anything like that until the headache triggered. And what I had was called an AVM, an arterial venous malformation. And I was born with it, and it formed in the embryonic stage.
Wow.
I know.
You had it your whole life?
My whole life. But one in, I'd say 150,000 people have these. And usually you find them in a ditch at 60 years old because they've hemorrhaged.
They didn't know, and it hit them all of a sudden.
They didn't know. I found out because I was a singer and the intensity at which I sing and training of running. I was running a lot, trying to get in really good shape to go out on tour. And I just liked competing. And so that wore my bumpers off of this AVM, which is a wad of veins and arteries about the size of a lime that rested right in my mobile cortex on my right side.
It was as big as a lime?
Big as a lime. Huge one. He said it was the biggest one he's ever worked on. He said he's worked on 20,000.
And when they say they work on them, do they cut it out or do they kind of repair the pathways?
There's 2 different pathways to go about it. You can cut it out, which is obviously an invasive surgery, which I'm going through this mental thing of like, okay, I'm climbing. I've been dropped. I'm playing with a chip on my shoulder. Like I'm ready to go back at it. I don't want to tell people, or do I want to tell people? So my thing was like, I'm not going to tell anybody. Me and my wife are just going to go get these embolized. And my doctor's name is here in Nashville. He is amazing. He's part of my life now. His real name's Dr. Miracle. Like that's his real name.
Oh, that's not his nickname from you.
That's his real name.
You got to be a doctor or like a dancer. Those are your only 2 options.
Dancer
would Miracle, yeah.
Sorry, my brain's going like, what else for Dr. Miracle? But he said this thing is so big, Drake, that we're going to go in through your femoral artery, and we're going to do these embolizations, which entails going up through your femoral artery with a catheter into the back of your brain and squeezing it full of this stuff called onyx. He said, but we can only do a little bit of it at a time because the brain doesn't like drastic change, but it doesn't mind small changes incrementally. So we go in, and he said, we're going to start doing these on like Monday. You can rest Tuesday and Wednesday, and then Thursday, because the first thing I wanted to know is, could I play? Thursday you can be back out on the road and you can be rocking. And so we took that, got our first embolization. They did it. I felt, and mind you, I'm healthy. Everything's good because I wasn't drinking that much. I wasn't doing really anything. I was just working out and staying. When I got that news, by the way, it came on as a headache. And
I was going to ask, like, why did you even go to the doctor the first time?
I got an MRI because I couldn't, the headache was so bad. I'd never really had migraines, but this was like level 50 migraine. Like I couldn't see, I couldn't look at light, I couldn't do anything. I literally went home after the lunch and with my managers, and I went to bed. And that headache was, my wife came in and was like, this is not normal. I mean, I'm going to tough it out again. This is not normal with your head hurting like this. You need to go get an MRI. No, I fought it for a second, and then I couldn't shake it. So I went and got an MRI, and it showed the lime size mass. So that was a 2-week stint. 2 weeks is a long time to go not knowing what that lime size mass is in the back of your brain. I don't know if it's cancer. I don't know if it's who knows?
But you did know there was a mass.
Yeah.
So they're like, this is this. Now we'll come back in a couple weeks and tell you what it is.
Yeah.
Holy God, that's crazy. You have to just wait. Because my mind would have gone every super dark place there was.
That's another common thing in my life. The number of times that I've waited, me and Alex, we have been through so many things where we've just had to wait. And everything is waiting for me, and I'm not a patient person at all. I love to kick the tires and light the fires. I like to keep it going. And, man, it's just been hurry up and wait. It feels like the last 5-6 years. But anyway, the AVM is revealed. The treatment is revealed. And now I'm to the first treatment. And I come out Monday. He does the embolization. I wake up from anesthesia, and I'm like, okay, everything's fine. I feel good. And he said, as we do more of these embolizations, I think it'll take 7, maybe 8, because it's so big. But your chances of them rupturing, because there was a chance of it rupturing that could end in death, should end in death, I guess. But that chance was like 2%. He said, and it will lessen with each embolization. So I'll take that chance, and we go out and do all these shows. And so after the first one, we go out and do the show on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday run. Alex is with me. Everybody's looking at me, checking my blood pressure. Because that was the thing. My blood pressure would get up because I would just be screaming.
The intensity of the show, right?
Yeah.
Is lifted. Yeah.
And, man, that show went off without a hitch. 2 shows, 12 shows, 20 shows, 30 shows. We went to Bahrain to play for the troops. We went all over the place. We went to Europe, came back, did a bunch of shows with Zach Brown, came back. Like, everything was really rocking. I was like, man, I dodged this bullet. Well, 4 embolizations in, and about 40 shows in. It was August the 16th. And we take the stage in Roanoke, Virginia. And my blood pressure medicine made me extremely dizzy. So I would bite it in half, and just take half of it or whatever. And for some reason, I'd either ask the doctor or I'd ask the doctor. I'd said, like, is there any way I can, like, I feel good. Is there any way I could come off this medicine? He's like, well, I would advise you take the medicine, but I don't think if it's making you so dizzy. I mean, I'm talking about like a vertigo level dizzy. I don't know if you've ever, you've probably performed dizzy. It's not easy. So I didn't take it. that day. And it wasn't the first time I'd not taken it. I'd not taken it a lot. So it wasn't like that's what caused it. But the 1% thing happened. I took the stage in Roanoke, got into about 3 songs. And when I say it felt like a bowling ball was on my left leg about 3 songs in. And just like you were talking about the banana, like I knew it was a banana. I knew the song. I knew where I was. I just didn't know I didn't know what I was doing. I was like, and you can see in the footage back, we're making a documentary on this, and I've been watching the footage back. You can see me like toughing it out, just trying to tough out and keep going through it. And the miracle is that the EMTs were watching me, but the sky flipped upside down, like the cotton candy sky became the ground, and the crowd became the sky. And everybody sounded like the scene in Old School where you get shot in the neck with a dart. Yeah, everything slowed down and everything was, and I was like, man, I'm having a stroke. And I'd read all the jargon about that, and it was like, it's death. That is death. So in my head, my left arm and my left side was completely numb, and I kind of staggered back, and they caught me, pulled me off stage. I was 3 minutes from a trauma 1 level hospital there in Roanoke, and they rushed me to that hospital, and my wife is a type A kindergarten teacher, so she had prepared a booklet of exactly what to do if this happened. So my tour manager handed the doctors that booklet, and they administered this coagulant that stopped my brain bleeding within 18 minutes of it starting. So it saved my right side, saved my life. And so then I'm in the hospital, I'm there in this it's a student-driven hospital, very similar to Vanderbilt. So there's a lot of traffic. You've been to Vanderbilt where there's maybe you have, maybe you haven't, but there's a lot of people. They ask a lot of opinions to try to figure out what's going on. I'm in the room. This is 10 minutes after the stroke happened, and I'm in the hospital room, and they got my shirt. They tore my shirt off of me, and there's these conversations going on of, do we put a port in? Do we not put a port in?
You can hear this? You remember this?
I can hear it, and I can remember it. But I remember screaming, don't put a port, because I'd read about sepsis. I'd read about being brain dead. I don't know if that's the politically correct thing, but that was my biggest fear, is having to be rolled around in a wheelchair my whole life by my wife or whoever, and just fed. And I'm screaming, don't put a port in, but I feel like I'm locked inside my rib cage, my body. I feel like I'm literally locked inside, and I could see everything kind of, and they wouldn't give me any pain medicine because they wanted to make sure that I could respond to where I'm at, what's your name, and so I started praying in that moment, and just remember saying, as long as you're breathing, you're alive, and as long as you just breathe in and breathe out. And upon that, that breathing, I just had to concentrate so hard on breathing. I was like, well, I'm still alive. And in that little 15-minute, I know this is a long story. It's even longer.
No, take your time.
That was only 15 minutes, 15, 20-minute kind of a bang, bang thing of them administering that. But my wife is 7 hours away. So I'm breathing in, out, and I'm concentrating. I'm hearing all these conversations go on. And I see these 4 figures in the corner of the room, and they're very confident, and they're very peaceful, and they're shaking their head. And I was like, something happened in the room to where I was not worried. It was a very peaceful feeling. And I'm not going to say I floated above the bed, but like I was above the bed in some regard. Like I felt really good. I felt really free. And in that moment, there was just this unbelievable peace. And I'm going to fast forward. Well, no, I'm not. I'm going to stay in this because I didn't ever fear. There was no fear in this part of the journey. Like the fear was gone. I was just like, all right, I'm having a stroke. Like keep breathing, keep doing your thing. And then all of that, I didn't have to worry about breathing. And they hadn't administered any pain medicine yet.
So that means your body is not reacting to the pain medicine. So whatever the feeling is, if it's a euphoric or free feeling,
yeah,
or some mixture of both, it's not because of medicine in any way.
No.
So whatever it is naturally come upon you.
Yeah.
Got it.
So the next thing that I remember is, excuse me, is me waking up and Alex's hand in my hand. And I remember thinking, I tried to squeeze her hand and I couldn't squeeze her hand with my left hand. And I remember thinking that rock bottom had a basement. I was like, that was rock bottom. That was like, okay, I am paralyzed. I am not going to be able to do what I want to do. And then I it's not consciousness. Like I'm not in a coma or nothing like that. I'm just so weak from everything. Alex is explaining that I saw her there and I kind of grinned and then went back kind of under this other world. But the veil that I'm talking about is just, that was the near-death experience of seeing the four figures, and I didn't know what they were. I thought they were security guards. I thought they were, they had security guards from the show because it was just kind of, I didn't know what it was. So Alex comes in, and she later tells me that she had prayed for 4 angels to surround the corner, put angels in the corner of the room as she was coming to Roanoke at 100 miles an hour. She said, just put angels in each corner of the room and guide these doctors' hands. And they didn't put a port in. They didn't put anything in. That coagulant stopped the brain bleed and saved the rest of my body. And then these 4 angels appear, and they're there. The next thing I remember I grew up in this church that had red carpet. I grew up in a church that had blue carpet, but my grandfather preached in a church that had red carpet, and we would visit at his church. And I was in that church, and they were asking the congregation to come down if you have anything on your heart. And I remember a voice saying, stand up, come on down. And I was like, I can't walk. I'm not going to be able to stand up, And then in a split second, I just thought, oh no, I just missed my opportunity to go to heaven. Like I just said, I can't to God. I just said, I can't get up, I can't walk. And in that moment, I realized that. I just said, no, I can't to God. And Alex said that I had not moved in like 4 or 5 days. And I jump up and I'm ripping the stuff out, trying to get out. And I'm like, I'll get up, I'll walk. And like, now we're back into the hospital room. And she's like, I have not moved. And I sat straight up out of bed and I'm trying to get up and I'm trying to walk. And that was basically, in my mind, an encounter with God. Like I didn't see his face. It was just a bright light. And it was a are you ready type experience. And I was like, no, I'm not ready. It wasn't very verbal, but I knew he was thinking it. Are you ready? I was like, no, I'm not ready. I've got a lot of stuff I want to do. I want to have kids. I want another golden retriever. I want to fix my Bronco, whatever it was. But that was maybe 7, 8, 9 days after the stroke. And Alex was sitting bedside with me, which she never left. And so that I know that's deep. I know that's in there, but that veil is so thin, and life and death is so fragile in that world, but it was not scary. It was super peaceful, and it was very, very real. And those angels were very real. We got home, we made it home, and the supermoon was in the eastern sky. I know that sounds I'm into, I love the moon, I love the stars. We always go outside on the farm and look at stuff that's going on in astronomy. And this supermoon was happening, and I rolled my wheelchair over there, and this cloud goes by, and the cloud looked like the Archangel Michael in a painting that me and Alex are familiar with. And kind of at the same time, we both said, that looks like the Archangel Michael, or an angel. And Alex told me that story. She said, on my way to Roanoke, I prayed that God would put angels in the corner of the room and guide the doctor's hands and help them with the decisions, because the decision to not put a port in, the decision to not open me up, the decision to do what the booklet said, as opposed to, that was a miracle. That was a big thing for me. And she said, I prayed that they would guide. And I think that was spiritual warfare happening in that room, of like, I was being tested, I was being kind of taken and pulled. And I think that one prayer, sent those angels, and those angels guided the hands of those doctors, and that saved my life.
How long were you in a wheelchair or unable to physically do normal able-bodied things?
Once I got back to Nashville, so that was August, September, October, November. We're talking about 3 months.
You were in Roanoke the whole time?
No.
All the hospital? No, but you were in the hospital in Roanoke for how long?
For 2 weeks.
That's an eternity. That's not home.
No.
Even for your wife too. Like, she's not able to have the home things.
Yeah.
Wow.
And that it was a miracle that we couldn't fly a plane back because of the pressure to the AVM in the brain. We couldn't get a medical transfer back in an ambulance because I can't be jostled around like that in an ambulance for 7 hours, or 9 hours. And Alex is like, what are we going to do? And we called a dear friend of ours, Kylie Irvin, and she sent a tour bus up there. And then they were like, and this is the hospital. They were like, we got to get him out of here. And Alex was like, what do you mean? Like, I don't know what to do. And so the bus is coming. You got to have a EMT to accompany you
on the
bus to watch you. You are a high risk dude right now. So I come out of Alex will explain. I come out of kind of a stupor and go, call Eric Estes, call Brandon Harcrow. They were my buddies that had become firemen out of high school. And I hadn't talked to those dudes in a while. And she called both of them. Brandon had something going on, but Eric was like, I'll be there in 7 hours. Eric comes. We get a ride all the way back to Nashville on a tour bus in the back. It works out. So you asked the timing. That was 2 weeks in Roanoke. And then it was the work. Then over at Skyline, right off Dickerson Pike, which I love that hospital. The OTs and the PTs saved my life. And they're the ones that made me get up, and I'm sitting here, rehabbing next to a 75-year-old stroke patient that's farting all over herself, And it's a very dire time for me in my mental capacity, because we had played Fenway Park, we had played these awesome places, we had seen these great things, and then somebody's got to help me use the bathroom, and somebody's got to help me shower, and just a very, very low time, and that took. I was there 40 days and 40 nights, and I know that's biblical, but that literally is how long I was there. And so once I was just so ready to get back home, and I had buddies come and build handrails to get in, and at the house, and we got back home, and that is when the work there was a lot of work of just getting off the table and a lot of pain in joints. And my left side was completely paralyzed. All the muscle mass went out of my left side, and all the muscle mass went out of my leg, and nothing would work. And so building that back up was extremely painful. The shoulder was extremely painful. The hip was extremely painful. But I would just get little bitty drops of hope. And this one, all I wanted to do was write. I wanted to write songs. I was like, man, I have a forever muse. I have a relentless muse. Like, now I can write these songs and do these things. And I remember my publisher goes, well, Drake, the pandemic is set in, because do the math, August, September, October 2019, and then we're moving into 2020. And so it's a double whammy for me, because I felt like I'd gotten my career was, you work hard for that. You work hard to get to those points and those spots. And then I felt like the proverbial rug was kind of pulled out from under me. And then they say the pandemic. Then, right when I get back to where I'm on a walker, I had a cane, and I felt like I could play. They didn't want me to play, but I played a couple of private shows, probably 4 months after the injury, 4 or 5 months after the injury. And they were very, very docile shows, but it proved it was just a stepping stones that I could get there and do it. But all I wanted to do was write. And he said, well, nobody's writing. Nobody's coming to the publishing house. Would you be willing to write on Zoom? And I said, man, I'll write in Morse code. I don't give a shit. Like, what are you talking? Like, so that's the perspective shifts,
Yeah.
You're just like, and I wrote this song called Hurts the Healing. And that song proved to me in that moment that I could do it, that I could keep going. So that little rays of hope there, little rays of hope when I didn't feel like I could walk. And I would go I would gain 2 steps forward, then I'd go 5 steps back as far as the health journey and the recovering.
What did they tell you your ceiling was, though, whenever you went back home? Did they tell you they had visions, or your outlook could include playing music and writing music? Or was it, we don't know where this is going to end? Like, what was their version of your future to you?
I realized really quick, and you probably did too, with brain injuries, they know less about the brain than we know about the ocean, than we know about Mars. Like, they know very little. And so they can't tell you anything. Nobody can tell you it's an ACL and it's going to heal if you do this, 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 and this. So they're basically going, just keep working hard. Just keep working. And I formed what I now live by is, if you believe you're healing, you're healing. That's, placebo's a real thing, but it doesn't matter, placebo or not. If you believe you're healing, you are healing. And so I just put in my mind, I set things, Bobby, like getting back to the stage was a big thing. Then the pandemic hit. Wednesday night therapy, getting in the barn and playing these shows, these small shows that I would just gather around with, 2 or 3 people and throw up my phone and put it on Instagram. I would look forward to those. Hunting was a huge thing. Being outside was a big thing. Whether it be get Alex to roll my wheelchair out there and just take my shoes off and walk around in the backyard. That might be the event for the day at some point early in the recovery process. But I did something. And I noticed that my brain, as long as I had something to look forward to, and as long as I had something to, music was so, everybody says music's healing. It is healing. But man, I remember preparing for a write. I had so many writes that the years prior, I was like, I got to write today. Who's it with? What are we going to do? You get into the write. What y'all want to do? No, dude, I would prepare for these writes. I would go in and just have 17 ideas and all, because you had time. And so it just really gave me a perspective shift and gratitude of how to walk through this and how to walk through life in an appreciative way. And not that I wasn't before, but now I was just very, very adamant and very driven to not prove anybody wrong, but like get back out there. Because I heard rumblings of he may never walk again. I heard rumblings of he'll definitely never perform again. Like, and man, the artists that would call me, there's no need in saying names, but like my good friends that we all know, that you know, that you've had on your show, they would call me and I'd be like, all right, man, well, let's write, or let's get together and write. Oh, brother, you worry about, and they didn't mean to. This is a specific one. They were only trying to do good, but they would be like, you take care of yourself. We'll write when you get well.
Not understanding that what you need to take care of yourself was to write or to have something to do.
I threw an iPhone through a sheetrock wall one day after I got off the phone with a friend and a fellow artist, and I threw it through. Alice saw, what is going on? What's wrong? And it was by him saying, he didn't mean to, but by him saying, kind of taking my, hey, let's write, and him saying, you take care of yourself. We'll write when blah, blah, blah. That was like, he thinks I'm done. He thinks that everybody's just passing me. And I know that's not true, but that's what I thought. And so I'm angry. I have to deal with some of that now, it's an ongoing battle of like, is your shot over? Is your window of opportunity over? Can you get back up and do this? And I answer those questions every day. I answer those questions with every show. I play these shows with a revival-esque type spirit of like, I once was dead, but I don't celebrate. It wasn't a near-death experience to me. It was a near-life experience. Meaning, I heard Deion Sanders say that the other day. I think that's why I say it.
Talking about his bladder, his cancer, yeah.
It was a life experience. The reason I love what he said, it's not a near-death experience. It was a life experience because, man, it made life. My sweet wife duct taped her leg to my leg and taught me to walk again. She'll be my wife forever. I mean, goodness gracious, you can't love anybody more. My son, teaching him to do stuff, my never taking a write for granted, never taking a podcast for granted, never taking an opportunity for granted. Like I said, I had a pretty good grounding of it before, but now it was like God gave me this thing and this obstacle, and I think that it gave me the authority to go and help people, and where people be like, oh, he don't know what I'm going through, like blah blah blah. Well, maybe I don't, but let me tell you this story. And they're like, whoa, if he can get through that, I can get through. So now I've started speaking. I've met, tons of folks. I love doing it. And I never thought I'd love speaking. I thought that was a nightmare, But it's about helping people for me now. And the music is just, it never stole I think this is a great, cool thing. Like, it never stole my ability to sing or stole my ability to hear melody. I don't play a guitar as well now. I do a lot of open tunings and stuff like that. But the music has a richness to it that, I can't say it's anything but a miracle. And I can't say it's anything but, to have this attitude and have this thing. And I have bad days. I just have people around me that pull me out of it. And, my therapist, Griff Moore at Paradigm down south of town, meet with him still 4 hours a week, and we go through the same motions and we grind. And I have horrible days with him, of days that my leg and my foot doesn't do what I want it to do. But we've got this show, and we prepared for these shows, and we prepared for these movements, and we prepared for this thing, and we prepared to climb a ladder stand, to hunt. And that helped me. Just climbing this ladder helped me do other things, helped me learn how to change a diaper, and changing a diaper, my wife laughs at me, but she said, that's great therapy. It's great therapy. Changing a diaper is great therapy. Go change his diaper. So it's really been a crazy experience, Bobby. It's been a frustrating experience, and but ultimately, I think it's the best thing that ever happened to me. You know, I really do, because as far as me as a human being, empathy and being more like, you know, being more like Jesus or whatever you're aspiring to be better. I'm always trying to be better than I was yesterday, as cliche as that is. But this is just always, this is one of those things that, like, now maybe somebody can look at me and go, well, if he can get through that, then I can keep going and get through this. And so all this mental health stuff, and you know, I think I've got a line I could throw you. You know,
You talk about that in a way that I talk about perspective in general, where no one wants to have to get perspective, but once you have it, it's invaluable. And you don't get perspective by something easy.
no,
Like, nothing easy ever gives you perspective. Perspective comes through something hard that you've had to get through, and what you've learned from it ends up being tools you can use for yourself or for others. I had a guy call me this morning, and he just got out of jail. And he was like, hey, while I was in jail, like, another inmate gave me your books. And he was from an area like I grew up, like somewhat like where you grew up, but, you know, super impoverished area in the South. He had addicts all around him, as did I. And he was like, you came out of that to do what you're doing now, and it gave me hope that it could be done. And I think because of what I come from, I have perspective. It sucked getting it. It sucked.
no, man.
I would not wish it upon anyone, but now I'm so happy that I have it. And I'm just hearing you tell your story, and you say people don't have your exact same story, but they have an understanding that you now understand what something very, very difficult is like. And I feel like you've gained so much perspective. Would you do it again? Probably not. However, you're so grateful for what you've learned from it that it's a net gain, it feels like. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I feel like it's a net gain for you in your life because of what you've gained from it.
For sure. No,
And then what you can help other people do as well.
I think that's a very fair assessment and statement. Like, you know, the big thing that we're talking about with people isolating themselves with their problems, like, oh, I've been divorced 3 times, or I've got a drug addiction. Drug addiction's a big one. Or I've got, you know, I've had, you know, I'm paralyzed on the left side, or whatever it is. I've had cancer. I've had this. I've had that. I kind of do this thing, and I got it from a conference I went to one time. But, like, in our shows, like, I've asked people to raise their hand. Hey, if you've faced something in the last 5 years, say I. Everybody says I. Hey, has anybody in here ever battled cancer and won? You know, and it's kind of the church thing of show some hands. And at first I thought it was cheesy, but basically I go through cancer, you know, I go through whatever I'm thinking of. You know, I went through Parkinson's, I went through addiction, I went through, in the bottom, what I was shown when the first time I saw this is, most of the time I would trade your problems for my problems. You know what I mean? If you ask people, they've all got problems. Everybody's got problems. And my favorite thing is, everybody's like, well, it's not like yours. You know, it's not as, you can't say that, because their problems are their problems, and you're not alone. Everybody has faced your specific problem, even if it's this little bitty, minute niche thing. Like, the people that I've seen raise hands on the AVM journey and the brain stuff are crazy. And I've been able to talk to teenagers with AVMs that have ruptured. I've been able to talk to dozens and hundreds of people with these AVMs, and they're supposed to be one of the rarest things, you know, out there. And, you know, it's kind of like when you get a Bronco and you get a Jeep, you start noticing everybody's got a Jeep. Yeah. You know, you get this AVM or whatever, you start noticing, and I think that is spiritual. I think it's spiritual because that's what he's bringing you through that stuff for. And if I can help somebody, music definitely heals. Stories definitely heal. Separation is the opposite of healing. And to go through that pandemic right after a brain injury, I just think I'm very proud that God gave me these challenges. I wish he wouldn't have sometimes, but now looking at it, if he trusts me with that and he knows that I'm going to come back and have this perspective, then that's what I'll have. And I will say this again. I fail every day. I fail every day. You know, I failed today. I got kind of heated earlier. It ebbs and flows. It's a constant working thing. I think I'm done, or I think I'm this, or I think I'm that. And then something happens, a show happens. I go hang out with my golden retriever, my little boy, or, I see, a hawk fly across the sky, or, I get to come in, a great friend asked me to come write, or I get a cut, or I get a show, or we get an opportunity, something happens to pull me out of it always. And I just realize it's the roller coaster, man. It is what it is. And it's best just for me to go, man, I'm getting to live this. I'm getting to live this life. I'm getting to live through it. And how can I help people with it?
How old's your son?
2.5.
How's that been?
Amazing, dude. You want to up in frequency. Get you a 2.5-year-old with a 2-year-old golden retriever and hang out with him for 5 minutes. I mean, it's just like an endorphin. There's so much innocence there. And we went through 7 years of infertility to have him. We went through the IVF process. I've been open with that on our stages. So we went through the stroke. All right, I just told you that story. Then we're going through 7 years of infertility in the middle of all that. And then Alex, my wife, starts tingling. Gets this autoimmune.
She's tingling?
She's tingling. We go to Steamboat with some friends to try to just get away from the pandemic or whatever. And we're hiking out there, and she becomes paralyzed. Long story short, becomes paralyzed from her breast down. And now I'm just now out of a wheelchair, and she's now paralyzed from her breast down. And people ask me what I did, and I'm like, I called our moms. And our moms came and lived with us for a little while to get Alex back up on her feet. And she's faced this CIDP. It's a chronic demyelination of her nerves. And it was from not knowing she had type 1 diabetes. So she was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. And so that happened in 2020.
Did she feel healthier after they diagnosed what it was that was causing that? Like once they said you have type 1 diabetes and you were able to treat that specifically, did she start to feel better?
Absolutely. I think not knowing is half the health battle.
But was she like feeling bad before that? Because I feel like undiagnosed diabetes is affecting her in a way she didn't even know before the drastic turn.
Just huge ebbs and flows of energy. Your sugar fluctuating uncontrollably is just, the mood swing, the moods and the things, that affects is crazy. But so she battles through that. We get through that. And then we go through all this infertility stuff, end up having our son. So seeing his life and seeing him in the world has been one of the best things ever. And also one of the funniest, because like I've realized that nobody has a clue what they're doing, with parenthood. Like you just kind of do it. I mean, we do the best we can, and man, he's blonde-headed and wild, and we just have a good time with him. But he is the source of joy, right now, and it's like it's just good, man.
What do you have out on your farm?
Bees. We got it's a deciduous forest, which means, just a bunch of hardwoods and stuff like that. I do a lot of hunting out there.
Are you a beekeeper?
Alex is.
Did she put that thing on?
Yeah.
We had a bunch of folks where I come from that were beekeepers. It was very common, but they would just sometimes put the mask on, but they dropped the whole suit. Like if you wore the suit, you kind of got made fun of.
Yeah.
But they would wear the hat. But yeah, we had honey everywhere because everybody in that town was a beekeeper. Yeah. Why does she do it? Does she like it? Is it
yeah.
Does it take her away? She has to focus
yeah.
on that. Is that like I don't know, what therapeutic does she get from that?
Yeah. I think she's just we're both natural people. I like things that take me out of living in this this simulation almost. You know what I mean? That's why I love hunting. I love being in a situation where I'm thinking, what if I was a deer, or what if I was a duck? How would I react here, and what would I? She likes being in that natural situation of doing something with her hands, and then bringing it and putting it in a recipe. She's also she doesn't call it a chef. She calls it her great grandma's cook. Her great grandmother and grandmother taught her how to cook, but she's a phenomenal chef and a great. She's got an event space out there on our property, and that's just what she likes to do. She likes to put her energy into natural things, whether it be bees or, she loves finding artifacts and Indian artifacts on her property and taking him out there and catching lightning bugs or, fishing, little stuff. But preparing food and nurturing people is what she loves to do. So
You have game cameras out there on your property?
Mm-hmm.
My stepdad sent me this morning because...
Oh, you're about to start the game camera?
Well, it's just, I'm from rural Arkansas, so these are the pictures that we send for fun.
Yeah.
Like, there's like right behind his house, he's got game cameras.
Nice.
Just, that's what my photo log is from people home. It's fish and deer.
Yeah.
And ducks.
Yeah.
And so it's like, he's like, here we go again. And it's just like one after the other.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
yeah that's my whole reel. And people, there's such a dogma, I think, that comes with hunting and fishing. And I love that saying, it's a newer idea to not hunt or not fish than it is to fish or hunt. What that means is, like, people that are like, oh my gosh, you hunt? What do you mean? And I've been to, all over the place where, and I don't want to, I understand the closer we can get to earth and the closer we can get to our connection with our food and all that, the happier I get and the healthier I get. And it literally helped heal me through all of this stuff, to be close to bees, to be close to growing your own tomatoes, to actually harvesting the venison and eating that healthy food. That was healing to me. And I could feel that in my bones. And so I've dedicated a lot of my life to that, to the conservation of that, and the idea of the outdoorsman and the man and woman that go out there and actually know how to can their vegetables and actually know how to harvest and skin and prepare a wild animal and feed and provide. So coming back out of that stroke and being able to provide for my family and get back into a rhythm, into a hunting thing, into making music again, was just huge. And then the pandemic hit, and really diving into that outdoor world was really what I told you, what I had to look forward to was hunting. And I saw a giant deer, like a 175-inch deer, if that makes sense to you, like on a scoring system. And I've never been a big guy of like, oh, it's got to be this massive deer. But I saw this deer after my brother-in-law put a game camera up behind the house. And it was kind of a reluctant thing for me. I was like, I can't hunt. I'm in a wheelchair. This is right in between wheelchair and cane. And he was like, oh, whatever, I'm going to do it. So he puts it out there, and I check it 500 times a day. Well, giant, like Bambi's dad, walks out behind the house, like right behind the house. And it's not normal to have a world-class deer in Tennessee that big. So I go to Alex, Bobby, and I said, I got to learn how to climb a ladder. And she looks at me in this wheelchair, and she goes, we got to learn how to walk. And I held that picture up to her, and she goes, well, you're not going to Iowa. I said, look at the picture. Same, it's in our backyard. She was like, oh, my gosh, that's crazy. So then I go to my therapist, and I said, I got to learn how to climb a ladder. He looks at me in a walker, and it's like, you got to learn how to walk, boss. Show him the picture. He's from Mississippi, so he got it real quick. he was like, well, get on that Versa climber and let's go. And 2 months later, I climbed a ladder, and I never saw that deer. I saw the deer twice, but I never had the chance to harvest it. And I think that deer might have been a God deer, might have been an angel deer, like a fake deer. Like God just put it in my life because He knew that you can really get me with a song and a deer and a fish. Like you can just get me with those things. So we made a documentary. We're going to release it. It's called Ladder to the Sky. Just about how that helped heal me. And I had this idea I love that scene in The Revenant where the bear attack happens to DiCaprio. And I wanted to shoot it like that. Like, I love hunting videos are what they are. They're whatever, how we grew up watching hunting videos. But I wanted something to encapsulate the primal instinct of it. Like, what it did is flip the switch in my brain primally that got me back to like a provider, a producer, somebody with something to do. And I went back to my neurologist. I'm talking 3 or 4 months after I'd seen that picture. And he's like, Drake, what have you been doing, man? You look great. I said, well, I mean, and Alex goes, I'll tell you what he's been doing. He's been hunting every day. And he said, whatever you've been doing, your scans look amazing. I can't say that neuroplasticity has grown around your lesion because of this deer, but I can promise you this, whatever you're doing is healing you. And so we got the initiative, The Hunt's the Healing, off the song, The Hurt's the Healing. And we just documented all that.
When is that coming out?
When is it
Like, do you have a date on it yet? Next couple months?
September 1st.
September?
We're going to do a launch at Riley's deal September 1st at Duck Blind, and then we're going to do so it's going to go out on Real Trees YouTube September 15th, and then we're going to go out to Outdoor Channel around Thanksgiving.
Is it done?
It's close. It's real close.
Proud of it?
I love it because it's very, maybe 10% of it's about hunting actually. Like I had to concentrate. Think about this. I mean, it's 4 o'clock in the morning. I set my alarm. I don't have anything to set my alarm for before this. Set my alarm. Alarm goes off. I pop up, wide-eyed, bushy-tailed, get my coffee, and I get all my clothes on, and I ease down to the, 100 yards behind my house. And I take the first step on the rung, and there's a little bit of frost on the rung of the ladder. And I would hear that boot kind of crunch on that frost, and I would be like, do you need to be doing this? Like, you're going to fall out of this thing, and one of the arrows is going to go through your neck or something, all these fears. And now I use it in my speaking stuff because it's like stepping into those fears and climbing that ladder one rung at a time and understanding that the deer does not care that you had a stroke. The redbirds don't, not to get too hippie on you, but they don't care that you've had a stroke. You're in nature, and that's where God is. For me, that's where it all is. That's where the healing power of everything is in that scene. So I would concentrate so hard. It'd take me like an hour to climb up, 12 steps to 12 feet in the top of this thing. But the power and the happiness and joy that I got from sitting 12 feet above the ground and just watching stuff every day just took my mind off myself. It took my mind off that I wasn't, I would have detrimental thoughts, Bobby, like, are you going to be able to catch your son if he falls in the lake? He might drown. Your son's going to drown. Then I would make that real. Because what we do is make up stuff for a living. That's what I do. Can you untangle your son's fishing line? Well, I probably have to have some other guy take him fishing. You ever going to be able to, James Brown it up on stage again? Can you ever have the swagger you used to have? And this, and now I know that those things, I know how to battle those, and I know how to tell I know how to tell other people how I battled them. because that's the thing about mental stuff is everybody is different. And I can't tell anybody how to do anything. I can just tell them that how I did it. And I understand suicide. I understand that dark hole of that abyss. And that's a good place to be. You know, just empathy for mankind and humans and being out in nature, you know, whether beekeeping or hunting or fishing, taking care of somebody else besides yourself. And I'm not the biggest nurturer in the world. I'm so driven that my ambition, like I'm trying to achieve something every day. And this injury, amongst the other stuff, just taught me to just enjoy it. Keep that ambition and keep that love, but enjoy it. But it's about other people, and it's about giving it.
We were talking about your music before you came in, so I have a couple of music-specific questions. So, Low Country High Road, super rich, super soulful. Do you feel like because again, it definitely feels like Drake, for sure. Mm-hmm. But how do you feel like it's been modified since the music before this? Because I do feel sonically it's a bit different. Mm-hmm. I can't really put my finger on it, but I don't feel like it sounds exactly like Drake White from 5 years ago. How is this project different?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think one of the things is independence brings, you know, an independent artist brings a lot of, you know, it brings a lot of freedoms in the fact that, you know, I went and did that Low Country High Road with Jonathan Singleton, who's responsible, you know, he does a lot of work with Luke Combs and a lot of people. And he's a dear friend of mine from Jackson, Mississippi. And we just said, hey, let's go down to Ryansie, Mississippi, and let's get a band. And I love Nashville, don't get me wrong, but getting out of Nashville was just an idea I had to go do another record. And so we went down there and did it. And that's that different sonically, you know, sonic sound. So there's a lot of freedoms in all of that stuff. But the record that I released, you know, right after the stroke, it's called The Optimistic. And that was another independent record that I've never stopped making music. Matter of fact, I made a lot more music. And we're in the process of making another record. So,
well, I don't want to skip over the scattered, smothered covers because those three songs are definitely different than if you were to go, hey, Drake's going to cover some songs. What do you think he's going to do? Mm-hmm. And listen, I've listened to Birds of a Feather 5,000 times with my wife because she loves Billie Eilish. Mm-hmm. Never really thought that'd be a song you'd do.
Never,
I think you'd.
Either.
I think it's your version of it's awesome. I would not have envisioned that, even that version existing. Yeah. But I think you did it in a, I'll say even the word you said, a very independent way. Mm-hmm. But it was that song, Ring of Fire, and a Teddy Swims song. Mm-hmm. Why those songs?
Well, individual reasons for really all of them. But the Billie Eilish song, I had never really heard. Obviously, I knew who Billie Eilish was. I'd never really listened to a lot of her music that her and Phineas made. And then I listened to that song just because I think my nephew had it on when he's 19. I'm listening to it, and I'm like, I want you to stay till I'm in the grave, till I'm all the way dead and buried, you know, till I'm in the casket you carry if you go, I'm going. Like, I listen to those lyrics. And a lot of times the lyric will hit me. A lot of times the melody will hit me. That lyric, Bobby, like, stood out to me as like, man, this girl, that's a great written song. If you listen to it, you don't know if it's a eulogy or a
like a love or passion
or a vow.
Yeah, exactly.
And so I thought that was super cool how she, in her emo way, like created. You didn't know if it was a eulogy or a vow, and I was like, man, I'm going to try this. And I started messing around with it on a guitar, just kind of clicking around. And I just started singing it over and over. And then a couple of days later, you know, it just kind of happened from there. And I had some people, I mean, obviously it was not a mistake that they were extremely popular songs. Like, we wanted to do that in a way. We wanted to do the Teddy Swims thing because the run's amazing. The vocal, I'm a singer. You know, I've always been a singer. That's always been something I didn't have to really work hard to do. That's kind of the given thing. So the Teddy Swims song was because of the vocal run and just the popularity of it The Billie Eilish song was just, the lyric crushed me. And then I had this idea on the Johnny Cash song, or the June Carter Cash. She wrote that song. And I've always heard that song as a sad song, because I think it would be hell to be married to Johnny Cash. And I mean, everybody's watched. Why did I say watched? Watched. Everybody's watched.
You're British.
Everybody's watched the Walk the Line or whatever. And I think I heard that song as like, I fell into hell when I fell in love with him. And so that's the way I recorded it. Just very, very sad and not sad, but very in that frame of mind. So it's fun, man. I love being in the studio. I love making music. I'm going to do it for the rest of my life. And these were three things that gets us to the, I want to create every day. So, being independent and being in the nature that we're at in music, like you can create every day and you can release a lot.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm doing.
What's up with the new music? When does that start to trickle out?
I think
not that this isn't new. I should say the new music that is yours.
Yep.
Yeah.
This is doing exactly what it was supposed to do. The Scattered Smothered covers, which being from Arkansas, the name of it, I'm probably prouder of it than the actual songs.
That's right. It's a great name, I tell you.
Yeah, it's like, when I go into a Waffle House, it is my nostalgia. It is my therapy.
Me too.
You go in there, it's so comfortable. I don't know why, but coffee always tastes great in there, black, for me. And I walk in there and I walk to the jukebox and I put on something. That's what we do. And I love when me and my band will leave wherever we're leaving that night. And we usually try to get out of there by 1 o'clock a.m., 2 a.m. And my bus driver always stops at the first Waffle House out of town. And we'll slide in there. And some of those 3 a.m. Waffle House band, like your band's the only one in there, and you go to the jukebox and you're poking it like, don't let Matt run the jukebox. You know what he's going to do. And that's the kind of stuff that makes you a band. And so Scattered Smothered Covers is obviously a homage to the hash browns and how I order my hash browns. And I order them covered and all of that, but I get them diced and topped. Like I get all of it.
That's too many words for a title of an album. Yeah, diced, tops, matter. It's got to. You nailed it.
Yeah.
When's the new stuff coming out? Like,
so
when does the first couple of songs come out?
We have this song right now called it's like dancing to the sound of a Dixie band, bandana holding back your hair. Your tied up V-neck making me sweat. Girl, I can't help but stare.
Give me a little melody. You got to give me a little more than spoken poetry. Don't go hard.
Dancing to the sound of a Dixie band, bandana holding back your hair. Your tied up V-neck making me sweat. No, I can't help but stare. So don't get me wrong, I'm digging on your cut off and flip flop style. But I must confess, girl, you look your best, wearing nothing but a smile. Yes, ma'am, damn.
Is that next?
Yeah.
August?
Yeah.
It's a couple weeks. It's about to hit. Okay, so let me ask you this then. When that song comes out, do you want, because this is going to exist and we're on, people listen to this and that song's coming out soon, but that song, I can wait for that song to come out and like put it on the national countdown, I can play, or do you want us to go and do some of the Scattered, Smothered, Covered?
Oh, wait.
Well, Patience? Wait for that? You'll do that?
I'll do Patience, man. I've learned patience.
All right. True.
Now, that song, for me, the Alabama Muscle Shoals kind of funk soul brother thing, that's always, this is me doing exactly what I want to do and just creating with a high frequency and just like, I'm not thinking about it too much, It's like, I took this adage of like, dare to suck. You ever heard that? Like, it doesn't matter. For me, like, perfection to me, my that's not what music is for me anymore, And I think, I think there's a lot of perfect stuff out there. Well, I don't think there's any. Great music to me is not perfect. So it's just like, dare to suck. Just write it, put it out, and it will evoke feeling in who it's supposed to. So it'll find who it's supposed to. And that's kind of been my forte for the last 4 or 5 years, and trying to put others before myself. And I fail at that all the time as well. But we're happy to just be alive, man, and be making music.
Well, Drake White Stomp. You guys follow him on Instagram. We talked about that earlier. Power of a Woman. That's a song. Is it the one that? I mean, that's a they say single. Is that a single?
Yeah.
Is that the single?
Power of a Woman.
Yeah.
It's an older song. It was
That's what I thought.
Independent hit for us. We talked about this the other day. Like Mixing with Whiskey and Power of a Woman, since Making Me Look Good Again and Living the Dream, like those songs. Power of a Woman was just we had a really good campaign of shining light on just independent women out there that were doing it, and so Power of a Woman was a big song for us independently, and so is Mixing with Whiskey.
I'm gonna wait till the next one. That'll be the next single. Yeah. In my mind, I'm waiting for the next one.
Cool.
Yeah, because it's like I only got so many bullets in the chamber. I want to use it on the new stuff.
Yeah, I want you to. Yeah,
man, you're a good snapper too. I found myself snapping while you were talking, like just to see if I could snap, because you weren't even trying. Like I have little puny snaps.
Yeah.
Now don't go. Yeah, you don't have to agree with that so quickly. But
my mom's a great snapper, and her mom's a great snapper.
You're a good whistler?
I won the Alabama State Championship in whistling.
No way.
Yeah.
What do you do in the Alabama State Whistling Championship?
No, that's a joke. But
I believed it. Did you guys believe it? I did too. It was
my whistling is I'm from a long line of whistlers, and it's not, my whistling is not like, it's not like this crazy. I'll just do it. I'll do like a comment like. I don't feel like I should go on.
That's pretty solid though.
That was your very standard, like I just kind of pump myself up and then just hit you with a very standard thing. But
I whistle like I snap, and compared to yours, yours are so like pure and robust, and my snaps are like crackles, and my whistle's like this. It's like so that. Thin. You don't like that. You're nicer on that one. You're much nicer on that one.
That's my dad's whistle.
Because I was like, I snap wimpy. You're like, you sure do. I like how that time you were like, I like that whistle. Yeah. Drake, good to see you, buddy.
You too, brother.
Yeah. I appreciate you being just so generous with your stories and vulnerable with your stories. And I know that a lot of people, either here or in the places that you are talking or even performing, are not feeling as alone because you now exist in the manner that you do. And most of the time, you're not even going to know how you're affecting people. Yeah. So I can appreciate that, and I do appreciate that, and I appreciate that here, and I appreciate what you're doing. And like I said, you have a lot of perspective, and it sucks to have to gain it, but it is so valuable, and more so for others. And it's a very selfless thing to share that perspective. So thank you again.
Thank you.
And man, can't wait to hear the new music.
Yeah.
And you guys follow Drake. Go see him at Drake White Stomp. And yeah, see you soon, man.